Hello, good morning to you, 700 Club family, our beautiful 700 Club family. Good morning and happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. We love Fridays here, especially when we have Pastor Adam Mabry here. Mabry?
You got it.
Got it. Pastor Adam Mabry here. He is an author of this new book, The Art of Rest. Come on. How many of you need rest, a little more rest in your life? I know I do, and I can't wait to hear a little bit more about this, and I love the subtitle, Faith to Hit the Pause in a World That Never Stops. Tell us about this new book. Actually, but first, for those that don't know you and haven't read haven't heard of you or your church, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Adam, and I am the lead pastor of Aletheia Church in Boston, Massachusetts. Moved there about 7 years ago with my family, and to plant a new church, and it's gone great. We've planted a church in Cambridge, right between Harvard and MIT. Another one in downtown Boston, and most recently in Providence, Rhode Island. And
Awesome.
So raising a family there in a hyper-achieving, twitchy, overly anxious New England city. And,
Yes.
and found that I'm totally wired that way. But the book is really about how that can go pretty wrong pretty quick.
Yeah, so tell us about what led you to write this book.
Yeah, so put most succinctly, failure led me to write this book. So, I'm a doer.
Right.
I love the sound that my pen makes when it's striking something off my to-do list. And
Same here.
Oh yeah, and so I've just always kind of been early to life. I got married when I was 20. I shoved my undergraduate degree into 2 years. We had children early. So I mean, just a lot of things sort of advanced. And so about 2014, our church was growing really quickly. We had a child that was allergic to sleep. We just bought a really old house because it's Boston, and so I was remodeling that house myself at night, and Anna was wrapping up a graduate degree, and just all of these things. I normally would get through difficult moments in my life by just turning up the heat, achieving my way out of it. And what I achieved was the end of my ability to achieve, and I hit actually a pretty deep, dark, depressive season. And man, it wasn't good. I wanted to tap out of everything, and my family, my work, everything that God had called me to do. Part of the way that the Lord led me out of that was teaching me the importance of stopping, that I am a human being, not a human doing. And so learning that process and learning how to hit pause. Again, I'm no master at it. I'm still a hyperachiever, but one of the things that God has invited us to is to stop and to rest with Him. And that actually it's not just an invitation, but doing that, the practice of rest, speaks volumes about what we really believe God is like. And so this book is a little bit about that story and how even the most busy achieving people among us, the young mom, the extreme executive or any of that, can embrace God's call to rest.
Right. Now, do you believe that when we stop and we rest, it's actually a sign of trusting God? Do you believe that's kind of a correlation there?
Yeah, totally. So I like to say that resting or taking Sabbath time is a little bit like tithing. We are pretty good at teaching people that, listen, if you'll trust God with your money, He'll totally take care of you. But that initial step of trusting God, with money and maybe that first time you give or really becoming convinced of that takes a while, and it feels very strange the first few times you step out in faith and do that. Well, time is money. Yeah. So learning to trust God with a chunk of my time where I'm not oriented toward productive work, but Him. I'm oriented toward Him. I'm oriented toward my family, and I'm enjoying and embracing the things for which Jesus died to give me. Yeah. That's huge. And so, it's a total act of trust.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm sure that we all need to be practicing this, and many of you can relate watching this now. I mean, we live in a very fast-paced world. You're probably scrolling through your feed, some of you that have stopped or watching, and some of you may have just kept scrolling by. We live in a very fast-paced world.
Yes.
How do we, and do you talk about this in your book, practical tips on how to stop and slow down and pause?
So the first few chapters are really about why God even asks us to do it and what it's about. But the final chapter and the epilogue really are, okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Here's what practicing the art of rest looks like. And we call it an art because it's just that. Just like with any art form, if music, painting, drawing, the first time you do it, you're probably not going to be great at it. I have children they all play musical instruments, but the violinists are the ones that when they begin, it's just like, oh, this is awful. Like, this sounds awful.
Yeah.
And it takes years. And now it's starting to sound really beautiful. But a violin is a very awkward thing to hold. Well, similarly, for a hyper-achieving Western civilization sort of person, stopping is a missed opportunity. You're told to keep going and to run harder, and you can do more and be more efficient with your time. And so the end of the book is very much about learning how to find pockets of rest daily, weekly, and even yearly, and how one can begin to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, tell us again the faith aspect, because you say faith to hit pause in a world that never stops.
Yeah, if I'm working nonstop, it's because fundamentally at the bottom of my soul, I believe that my labor is what's going to achieve for me my greatness, my provision, my significance, even my value. And so faith to hit pause means God invites me to rest, which means I have to trust that He's the one who upholds the universe, that if I don't go to work, it'll still work. Yep. Right, the world will keep on ticking, and that He's the one who saves. Pausing, I've discovered, drives a stake in the heart of my own Messiah complex that says that if I got to keep things up and I got to keep things going, or the church or the family or something is not going to go well. And if you reverse engineer that statement, that's a profound act of mistrust in God, who says that He's the one who does those things for us. And so Jesus, think about this. Jesus, He had a lot to get done. Right? Saving the world, like you'd think. Yes. And so if I were Jesus, I don't know that I would have waited till 30 to really get after that. Think about it. He worked a job in obscurity for the great majority of his life. And even during the 3 years of ministry that the Scriptures record for us, he's regularly stopping. He's enjoying time with his Father, and he's not anxious. I can only imagine how attractive that must have made his life. And so it seems to me, if we followers of Jesus are going to live lives of good news to the world around us, part of that means embracing the art of rest, inviting our anxious, depressed, hyper-achieving community that is either getting it done and feeling too good about themselves, or not getting done and feeling really bad about themselves. That Jesus invites us to come and lay our burdens upon Him, and He'll exchange His light burden for ours. That, I think, can only come if we learn how to be restful people.
Absolutely. Such a good message. I think all of us can relate to it. You are going to be on the 700 Club in a few minutes. You're not going to want to miss the interview. We're going to post a link. By the way, guys, this book is not intimidating. It's a very short book. It fits in your hand. It's perfect size. It's not intimidating at all, especially for those of us that live busy lives and need to stop and rest. And maybe this book is the first book you should pick up. But really quickly here, before we let you go, we have a couple people watching. We want to acknowledge them. Gina is watching from the Philippines and says, good morning. Teresa says, God invites us to rest. You are right, Teresa. Monet is watching. Haiti says, God bless you. Ezra and Jermel and Elizabeth are all saying hello and good morning. Don't miss the interview today, coming up in just a couple of minutes. Pastor Adam Mabry, thank you so much for stopping by all the way from Boston, guys. How cool is that? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for bringing this awesome message to us.
It was a real pleasure.
And we'll see you in just a couple of minutes in the 700 Club. Stay right here. We'll see you next time.